You talk at one stage in the book, I think it's around the time Graham was leaving, about how, ultimately you want to look back in a career and not feel it's passed you by, to have great moments. And you certainly had that in your career. 2 league titles, a European Cup Winners' Cup, an FA Cup, a League Cup, Golden Boots, twice in 89 and 91, and your England caps as well. I guess a crowning moment, or certainly the most dramatic moment that we'll all remember from afar, is Anfield. And 1989, where you need to go there to, it's bloody Liverpool, and it was, Liverpool then were so extraordinary and win by 2 goals. That is a real crowning moment for everybody, of course, but certainly for Graham, and not least going to 3 at the back, the logic being that Dixon and Winterburn can push up on Ray Houghton and John Barnes, and you talk about the way he imbued the team with a sense of belief, and you say his halftime team talk was his finest moment as well. What an extraordinary night.
It was, yeah. It was an incredible one. The circumstances of it, the 2 teams vying for the title, going head-to-head after everybody else had finished. The fixture had been put to the end due to the Hillsborough tragedy. So all eyes were on this match on a Friday night. I think it got 18 million on ITV. Kick-off was delayed. There was bad traffic on the M6. My wife didn't get there till 5 minutes before the end of the first half. She didn't miss anything because in that first 45, Baldy had a header that was cleared off the line by Steve Nicol. Apart from that, it was just such a 100-mile-an-hour match. It never slowed down. And the one thing that struck me when I watched it back were the tackles flying in, ferocious tackles, and players collapsing to the turf but getting straight up, brushing themselves down, getting on with it, the ref not making a song and dance of it. And you do wish football could be a bit more like that now. It's obviously become so sanitised, but nobody trying to get somebody else in trouble, even though the stakes were so high. But we came in at half-time, heads down a bit. We were a bit disconsolate. We need to score 2, but we've hardly had a chance. But George lifted us because his 1 point was clean sheet, lads, clean sheet. Forget about the 2 goals, we'll get them. If we concede, we've got to get 3, forget it. So we had kept that clean sheet at half-time, and he was just lifting us, saying it's all going perfectly according to plan. Let's just push on a bit more now, get Lee and Nigel further forward, get some crosses into the box. We will score, and we will get the second. I think we'll get the third, he said. So he was Nostradamus that night, and he really did send us out in a clear frame of mind, in the way that Liverpool lads weren't. They felt, you could lose a game 1-0 and still win the title. That's a funny situation to go into a match with. So we knew exactly how to play it. And funnily enough, I was fairly confident we'd do it, or I thought we had a chance anyway.
Yeah.
Although Liverpool were the form team, we struggled towards the end. They caught us up.
Yeah.
I think they were unbeaten in the last 21 or something like that.
Yeah.
And what a team they were with Rush and Barnes, Beardsley, Hansen, Aldridge. They had them all.
It's outrageous.
Formidable at Anfield especially. So, incredible night.
And an extraordinary night for so many reasons. The backdrop of Hillsborough you mentioned, it's why the game is on May 26th, which is so late in the season. And we had Lee Dixon on, who I know you say in the book you're good friends with, and he was on around the time of that 89 documentary a while back. And he was just talking about the atmosphere pre-game and that wonderful gesture to bring the flowers onto the pitch and then give them to the fans. I'll just play a short clip here of Lee, who gave a brilliant interview that night on the show a couple of months ago, and his memory of even just that particular moment, with the effect that Hillsborough had even on Arsenal players.
It was so traumatic, and it was such a big thing that, 96 people, it's just horrific to even think about it now. And it's in the middle of the football, towards the end of a football season, and that has still got games to play. How can you? That's what I thought. I just thought, how can you carry on going back to, that excitement that you get to go into a football match, and the place? Certainly, I was looking from the player's point of view. How do I get myself in the right frame of mind to try and beat the person I'm playing against and put the ball in the net and fight and do all the stuff that you need to do in order to produce a performance when people have just died at a football match? How's that work? I couldn't really get my head around it. And so when they said, there's a 2-week break, I thought, at least it gives me time to try and work out what to do. And I think George gave us a few days off. Then we were back to training, and then it was, he talked about the fact that it's out of our hands. We just have to go and do our job, and it's almost like a relief. Then it gives you as a footballer, it gives you an out to go back into being a footballer and saying, okay, right, well, other people are going to take care of the other stuff. We've just got to get on with playing. And so you can kind of escape it a little bit from... I felt as if we were not running away from it, but we were almost allowed to go back to playing. And then it's funny because once you start playing again, it's not like it's never happened, because I still felt the burden of it right up until, I say in the documentary, literally right up until I passed the flowers over on the night at Anfield to a lady at the front of the cop. Right up until that moment, I felt there was a weight in my chest, just going, is it right? Is it right that we're still playing football? I didn't realise it at the time, but now when I look back on it, I could feel that heaviness, and passing the flowers over was almost like permission from her and everybody else at Liverpool and the cop, and it was almost say, oh no, it's okay, let's play. We need to play this game.
Lee Dixon there. What an extraordinary backdrop to a game.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, Lee describes it perfectly. I think it was Ken Fryer's idea to arm us with these bouquets, and obviously that brings it all back to you when you're running out, and it was obviously very well received. We got a great round of applause as we all went to four corners of the ground. I went to the opposite side from the tunnel. I think I gave them to a lady as well. But the one thing I remember after that, then everybody gets back into position, and there's this like primeval raw scream goes up, because then everybody is then thinking about the next 90 minutes almost as an escape, perhaps. And I've never played in an atmosphere like it, and I think that transmitted itself to the match in the way how fast it was. With those tackles flying in, the ball was given away a lot. We'd have it for 10 seconds, they'd have it. There was no pattern to the game. It was just tear 'em, scare 'em.
Yeah, and it's actually worth mentioning the reception. You got a full time. The cop stays full. You get a round of applause. Champagne arrives from the home dressing room into your dressing room. Peter Beardsley sticks his head around to say, "Well done." It's a real classy reaction from Liverpool.